The odds-on favorite to win the NBA title in 2017, you guessed it, the Golden State Warriors. They were 3-2 odds before Kevin Durant joined the fold, and now they are the kings of the land when it comes to the NBA landscape. Welcome, everybody, to NBA Crossover. We got a former NBA champ and an NBA 2K champ here on CBS Sports. I first got to get your thoughts. Are you making a comeback, man, with all the money being handed out in the NBA now?
Yes, I have to. I mean, I'll be doing myself disjustice if I don't try to make a comeback right now.
I'm working on my jump shot too, so if anybody needs a 3-and-D wing, your boy's right here. All right, so when you look at that graphic, and obviously with Kevin Durant now joining the fold in Golden State, that makes them really the super team of all time, maybe one of the greatest teams of all time when it's said and done. When you look at this, okay, whether it's chasing a championship or whether it is being a true champion, like you guys were with the 2004 Pistons, is there a difference between the two?
Well, no, I don't. I think at the end of the day, when you win a championship, nobody cares how you won it. Nobody cares about if you matched up with another superstar. At the end of the day, when you're considered like a superstar player like Kevin Durant, everybody's going to pretty much look at him to see at the end of the day how many championship rings can he get or has he got. So I think for him it's a great situation.
But you don't really take any clout in the fact that you guys, as the Pistons in 2004, came together.
Yeah.
You were built to win a championship. Now guys are fleeing to other cities to win titles.
Well, you also got to look at our team in Detroit. I mean, we had a great team. I mean, me and Chauncey Billups thought we were the best backcourt in
and
the
you
NBA.
were in that time.
And Ben Wallace, one of the best big men in our league, especially from the defensive end. But even for us, that first year we played together in Detroit in 2002 2003. We still needed a piece to win, and I think when we added Rasheed Wallace, I think he was a superstar. He was probably top 5 power forwards in our game at that time. And once we added that one more piece to our team, then that made us unstoppable. So sometimes people say, hey, you know what? Teams are built through the draft, through free agency and things like that. Sometimes you got to be lucky. We were in a situation where Rasheed Wallace wanted to win, and we end up, accepting him with open arms on that Detroit team. So I think KD's going to be great over there.
Sheed was your difference maker. KD seems to be the Warriors' difference maker. Now that he's leaving, and you see some of the MVPs on the same roster in past seasons, it's crazy to think now you got a 2-time MVP in Steph Curry, an MVP in Kevin Durant. Does this diminish at all if he does win a championship? The fact that he did it on this team as opposed to doing it in OKC where he was drafted with Russell Westbrook?
Not at all, man. People forget fast. I mean,
they forgot with LeBron, didn't they?
They did. They forgot about him. And I can even remember when I was in Detroit and we played against that great Boston team. When Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen in their prime went to go play with Paul Pierce and Rondo. So let's not look at it and say, all right, you know what? This is something that's never been done before. Guys always are looking for a better situation, and for them, especially when you're a great player, you want to win championships.
Kevin Durant's in a good position to do it.
And
now,
he already got his money. Like I said, Nike paid him over $200 million. He already played on one max deal. So, I mean, money's not the issue right now. For him, it's all about winning championships.
And one thing here, too, and stories started to come out after Durant's decision that the relationship between Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook was fractured. Howard Beck reported that these two, at least Durant said, that he didn't like the way Westbrook played, that ball-hogging mentality, the guy that's just ferocious with the basketball. So when you look at that and that relationship between the two, what do you think went wrong there?
I don't think anything went wrong. That's just a story being leaked, and pretty much they're going to make something out of nothing. I think before, Kevin Durant left, I think him and Russell Westbrook had a conversation, and I think that conversation probably went like, hey, Russ, what are you going to do next year? Or are you going to come back here and try to win a championship here in OKC? And Russell probably looked KD in the eye and said, man, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. And once Russell said that to him, KD probably said to himself, hey, you know what? I got to look out for myself. I got to figure out, is there another situation out there for me to win a championship? So he made a great basketball move, in my opinion.
Yeah, certainly. And that's interesting, too, to see what happens with Russell Westbrook now that Kevin Durant is out of town. If OKC decides to trade him or he stays, that's going to be certainly something to watch. All right, fast break time here on NBA Crossover as we look at the NBA salary cap, and this has been a hot topic of discussion all around the NBA, especially with the jumping now. A new $24 billion TV deal up to the salary cap to $94 million this year. It should jump to about $107 the following year, and then $111 a couple of years after that. Then it seems like it could start to fall down. But with all this money getting around, are we in for a burst of the salary cap eventually? Do you believe all this TV money is sustainable?
I think so. I mean, if you look at our lead, it's continually growing each and every day, and not just over here in America, but overseas too. I think David Stern did a great job of, promoting our league, especially from when you look over in China, how big basketball is over there, and how many people over there love the game, especially when you add Yao Ming to the mix in his little stint that he had in the NBA. So I think our game is growing, and for us as players, it's time for us to get rewarded too, because owners, they get rewarded all the time. So I think with the TV deal and all the owners at a couple years ago saying, oh, we're losing money, we're not making any money and things like that. And when you see this $24 billion TV deal, I think now the players are kind of getting rewarded for all the stuff that guys way back then went through.
Yeah.
So I think this is a situation that they're just getting rewarded because of all the guys that put in the work early in their career in the 70s and 80s, and they're always complaining about money. Now this is a situation where the guys are starting to get paid.
And the NBA is obviously at an all-time high. More popular, you would say, than when you played?
Yes. I mean, I think it's growing. I think especially
the super teams have a lot to do with that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I think everybody was very fearful on where the league was going once Michael Jordan retired. And then, a couple different guys carried the torch after
Bryant, LeBron James, yeah.
Absolutely. So now you got Steph Curry doing all these great things on the floor that he's doing. But I think our game is growing. I think it's exciting. People are looking forward to the next season. I mean, every day is a different storyline. I mean, first we're just like a month ago, we're talking about LeBron James going back home and winning the championship.
Yeah.
And now the new storyline, we kind of forgot about that. Now it's KD going to Golden State. So it's still a very exciting league. And I'm happy to be a fan and a former player of the game.
Money is just changing hands, and it seems it's a crazed free agent frenzy right now, especially with money being the issue here. Guys like Tyler Johnson are making $50 million. Timofey Mozgov is going to be paid more next season than Steph Curry. So hypothetically, let's say the NBA PA gets together and a new CBA is built with the NBA. Do you think there should be a tier system where stars get paid more than some of these guys like Jordan Clarkson and Timofey Mozgov that are cashing in free agency right now?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, we're in a great league, and we love.
So you don't have a problem with those guys making more than Steph Curry next year?
Nah, not at all. Because I think that when you look at it, I think when people said, hey, you know what, the salary cap's going to go up, I don't think really people really knew what that meant. And I think, like, even for me, I was in Atlantic City at the casino, and, I went out and played the night before, lost a nice amount of money, was really sick,
nice amount of money,
really sick on my stomach. And then I woke up in the morning and would listen to the radio, and I was hearing all these crazy contracts that they were giving out. And I said to myself, oh, man, Rick, what are you doing in the casino? You should be in the gym shooting
Which one made you feel more sick? The fact that you lost the money, or the fact that these guys are getting paid at an alarming rate?
I think the fact that these guys are getting paid the way that they're getting paid, and I was sitting on the couch. Because at that time, I felt like, hey, you know what? I can still give it one more shot, and instead of losing money at the casino, I could be making money, So I think when I looked at that situation and saying, hey, Rip, you know what? You got to get your butt back in the gym and start making some jump shots.
Hey, Ray Allen's 41 years old, okay? And he may be looking at making a comeback. So, he wants to get paid too. We'll talk about Ray Allen a little bit later on in the program. This new NBA now where you have 3 max guys and then you have a bunch of other guys around them. Do you believe that's, I guess, the future in the NBA, where you're going to have 3 guys that are making max money, and then you sign a bunch of guys on the roster to minimum deals just to fill out your team?
Well, not even that, but you're looking at guys that are coming off the bench still making $9-10 million a year. When I played, I mean, the star players, the guys that was, putting in most of the work, they were the guys getting $10-11 million a year. Now you got guys that are backups that are coming off the bench getting $10-11 million. But, when you're in that locker room, you want your teammates to get rewarded.
Yeah.
You want your teammates to get paid, because if your teammates get paid, it makes you a better team, because now guys are not worrying about money. They're not worrying about contracts. They're not worrying about off-the-court issues, because everybody in the locker room has got paid. And in order to win a championship, everybody got to put their egos to a side. You just have to do it.
Yeah, but it's different than when you played, because when you played, you were the one cashing in, and Chauncey Billups, not your backup center or your small forward. So how do you think that dynamic works between a guy like Steph Curry, who's getting paid $12 million, and then Kevin Durant, who's coming in that's making more than double what he's making?
Well, it's funny, because even in our locker room, when you had guys like me, Chauncey, Ben Wallace, and Rasheed, we all kind of got our money. And then we looked at the other guys, like Tayshaun Prince, a guy that wasn't getting a whole lot of credit for our success. A guy like Mehmet Okur that came off the bench. And we would tell these guys, hey, you know what? Play your role. Do it well. Because as long as we win, you're going to get paid. So don't go out there and try to do something that, that you're not capable of doing, and that's going to hurt the team. So if you just play your part and do it well, we're going to get you paid.
Timofey Mozgov averaged about 5 minutes in the playoffs and got paid a ton of money in free agency. So it's not like the old times
And the Lakers
got to
spend that money too.
Yes. Hey, and look, the salary cap floor is $85 million, so you got to spend the money somewhere. So pretty interesting. All right, step back time here on NBA Crossover. And we're going to get into a little bit of muddy waters here when it comes to Dwayne Wade and the Miami Heat. Now, Wade right now is seeking a $50 million deal over 2 years. And the Miami Heat and Pat Riley seem reluctant to give him that. They've offered him a 2-year, $40 million deal. And look, it's getting even uglier between these two teams. Is Pat Riley in the wrong here for not meeting Dwayne Wade's needs after sacrificing in years past?
Yeah, especially when you look at the Lakers situation with Kobe Bryant. I mean, they did a great job of just going out and rewarding him, not saying that he was worth the money at the end of his career, but they said, all right, you done generated so much money to our city, to our organization. It's our job to reward you. And then you look at the Miami Heat situation with Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade. Let's step back. Let's look at when the Miami Heat had Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most dominant players in our game. That didn't end great.
No, the marriage did not end well.
Absolutely. So Shaq ended up going to Phoenix, and there was friction between Shaquille O'Neal and, let's say, Pat Riley.
It didn't end well with Alonzo Mourning.
Okay,
either.
exactly. And we can even go all the way back to Tim Hardaway. When they said Tim Hardaway took less money way back in the day.
So is this a Pat Riley issue then?
I think so. I really do, because I think that, Pat's doing a great job of evaluating what he has on the team. But sometimes
he's always looking long term.
He's always looking long term. And then even the LeBron James situation, it always came about Pat Riley and the player, which in LeBron James. So I was always curious to say, all right, you know what? Dwayne Wade done took less money the last couple years. He opted out just for
LeBron cost him $10 million when he opted out.
Absolutely. And they gave that money to Chris Bosh, not Dwayne Wade. So he kind of is just waiting around saying, all right, you know what? I won I won rings here. I done gave everything to this city. I am Mr. South Beach. It's my time to get rewarded. And I don't think Pat Riley wants to do it.
Put yourself in Wade's shoes. What do you do right now?
I leave. I do. I leave. And the reason why I leave, I know he's going to look at it and say, all right, you know what? What is my legacy still going to be the same if I go, let's say, to Cleveland? He's just watching all the guys.
Yeah, but it seems like the options right now are Denver, and then you've got Milwaukee. Those seem to be, and Chicago may make space for him, but if that's your options, you'd rather make an emotional decision and leave than maybe step back and say, okay, I want to finish my career in Miami?
Well, don't be surprised. Don't say Cleveland's not an option. Dwayne Wade made a lot of money as an NBA player, and he signed a huge sneaker deal. So this could be a situation where he says, all right, you know what, screw you guys. I'm going to team up with LeBron James. I'm going to Cleveland Cavaliers to win another championship. I made my money. But if I'm going to be here in Miami when they're rebuilding, they lost Luol Deng, they lost a lot of guys. They just signed Hassan, but he's still young, and the jury's still out on him. And is this a situation where he says, all right, you know what, guys, we're not going to win a championship here in the next couple of years. So I'm going to take my game somewhere else, and maybe it's Cleveland.
You could say take my talents to Cleveland. That's okay. We can do the
It
reverse
doesn't sound as good as saying
I'm
taking my talent to South Beach.
And this brings us to a broader topic here of franchise faces and superstars getting paid. Now, we saw Kobe Bryant sign that 2-year, $48 million deal, I believe, towards the end of his career. Dirk Nowitzki just got paid a 2-year, $40 million deal from the Dallas Mavericks. Should these franchise stars be taken care of for what they've done in the past, not necessarily what they're going to do moving forward?
Yes, because I can remember in Detroit, and we just won a championship. We were looked at as the best 5 alive. We had great chemistry. And once we got into our 30s, I think Joe Dumars made decisions on our age. And he didn't make decisions on what we have done for the organization. And I think for us as players, sometimes we want to say, all right, you know what? I gave you my heart and soul. I played hurt. I did everything I did everything possible to get myself on the court. And we had a great relationship. So if I played hurt and now I'm at the tail end of my career and my game ain't as good as I was when I was 26 years old, I think I still should be rewarded because, all the hard work that I put in for the organization. So I think guys should be taken care of, especially when you're in a situation like Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade.
Do you think that maybe sets a franchise back? Because the Pistons haven't been as good since you guys left. They paid you guys the money, and, Stan Van Gundy got them in the playoffs last year, but that could have set the franchise back a couple of years by paying you.
Well,
guys.
you kind of forget. They when they paid us, they paid other guys after us. They got rid of Chauncey Billups and they brought in Ben Gordon and Charlie Villanueva, and they started a new group of guys. And then Ben Wallace left to go to Chicago, so he didn't really get paid in Detroit either. So I just think that when you look for our situation, we looked at San Antonio and say, all right, you know what, them guys kept their guys together and they added young pieces around them.
Well, they took a lot of less money too.
But they still got rewarded though.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Parker and Manu and Tim, they were still making over $10 million a year.
Yeah.
So they still got rewarded. It wasn't like they were in a situation where, hey, you know what, Pop said, all right, we're going to give you guys minimum deals. It wasn't that. So I think even in Tim Duncan's case, I mean, the last couple of years, Tim Duncan hasn't been great. I think the lead is kind of watered down, especially from the big man position, and there's not guys in the league that can guard him, but he's still effective. But if you took Tim Duncan and you put him in a situation where he was matching up with guys like Kevin Garnett in his prime, Dirk Nowitzki in his prime, Rasheed Wallace in his prime, then he would have problems. But now he's playing against young guys that's really trying to make their way in the league, and now these guys that are fives, they're stretch fives now. They don't want to go into the paint. So I think it's a situation where it's just timing with him.
All right, moving forward, that's foul. Remember when LeBron James left Cleveland and went to Miami, took his talents, the whole decision? Fans were burning his jerseys. They're doing the same thing for Kevin Durant in Oklahoma City. You've got babies that are crying with KD leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Burning Kevin. What do you make of this, man? I mean, I think it's just a show. Everybody saw what happened with LeBron. They're going to do it now with KD. That's foul, isn't it?
It's very foul. But I always tell people, man, look at Kevin Durant's process, man. I mean, look a couple years ago when him and James Harden was best friends and he was telling the organization, sign James Harden back. And they didn't. They let him go to Houston, and James Harden now is one of the top players in the league. So these are decisions that you got to look at. You look at the Serge Ibaka trade going to Orlando. Was Kevin Durant mad that they traded one of his best friends off the team? I mean, people don't look at that. They just look and say, oh, Kevin Durant left the organization.
He made a decision. He's a free agent. It's his right to make that
decision. He made a
decision.
decision for him and his family, and the best situation for him to win a ring, because he don't want to be in a situation like, let's say, a Tracy McGrady, a guy that was dominated. He dominated the league for many years in the league, and we always compared him and Kobe Bryant as the top two wingmen in the league, but Kobe continued to win championships, and T-Mac didn't win anything. Yeah. So we don't even talk about T-Mac as much. So I think Kevin Durant is looking at guys before him and seeing how that worked out for them, and he's saying to himself, hey, you know what? LeBron did it. And for me to win a championship, I can't bring a knife to a gunfight. I gotta get all my weapons out there.
Well, they got a lot of them.
Yeah, so I think that was the situation he did.
Well, Michael Jordan obviously won 6 titles as a member of the Chicago Bulls. He never left that city, by the way, except to play baseball, of course, but everybody forgets about that. But how about pickup game, MJ? 6-time pickup game.
Yeah, check him out.
Fine. Look at this guy. I mean, full MJ gear. Look at he's playing some tough defense there as well.
Oh man, the biggest thing I love about him was the wristband and the knee brace right on the calf. Oh my goodness, he really looks like a miniature Michael Jordan.
Never go full MJ, man. Never go full MJ. That was pretty impressive there. All right, hold that time here on NBA Crossover. How about Cat Mobley? Okay, remember him. Now, He retired from the league because he had some heart issues and wasn't able to be traded away from the Clippers. But playing in the Drew League, looking like Uncle Drew. Okay, 39-year-old Cat Mobley, absolutely straight balling in the Drew League. I know you saw this. What were your impressions? Look at this man. He's driving to the hoop, hitting trays.
I was looking at him and I was saying, man, is Cat thinking about having a comeback? Because if he's thinking about having a comeback, man, maybe I need to get out there and shoot some jump shots too. But he went out there, man, and he played bully ball. I mean, he was backing the little guys down. Cat was a big-time scorer, especially in Houston when he paired up with Steve Francis. So this was a situation I think that He went out there and showed the young guys and said to himself, hey, you know what? I can still play this game.
You're going to get a call, isn't he? Somebody's going to call a 39-year-old and be like, hey, man, can you still shoot? Come on and play for us.
Yes, they need to start an all-veteran team and see how we match up with all the young guys out there.
You want to play the Golden State Warriors? You take a crack at them, wouldn't you?
I would. It would have to be a half-court game, though, because I think if they got up and down, I think it would be a travesty.
That would be the tough part. All right, let's go around the NBA here on NBA Crossover. We'll start with Dwayne Wade, and we touched on him a little bit earlier on in the program. The Nuggets offering a 2-year, $50 million deal for Dwayne, also holding meetings with the Bucks. It seems like the Heat may actually get a meeting with him. Come on, actually, give the guy some love here, and the Heat, your former team, some love. Are the Nuggets the best situation for Dwayne?
I think money-wise, probably yes. Situation and winning and trying to get another ring, no. I think for him, he has to make a great basketball decision right now because he's a guy that made a whole lot of money, but I think he wants to be rewarded in Miami. I think he doesn't want to leave Miami. That's why he's taking another meeting with ownership, and I think Mickey is doing a great job of really just stepping in line and saying, all right, you know what, we're going to pretty much box Pat Riley out of the equation and say, all right,
put a buffer between
absolutely,
Pat and
let's have a conversation, and I think that's what's happening there. But I think for Dwayne, I thought New York, the Knicks would have been a great situation until they signed Courtney Lee.
Took the money off the books,
yeah. And but now I think Cleveland. I mean, him and LeBron James and Chris Paul right now are all on vacation on the boat right now. You never know what can happen.
The Spurs making some moves as well. Pau Gasol obviously heading to San Antonio. But in order to do that, they had to clear cap space by trading away Boris Diaw. He's been one of the more underrated cogs
the glue guy
in that organization. Do you agree with this move?
I don't, because if you watch San Antonio sometimes, Boris was kind of like the point forward on their team. And a lot of times the offense ran through him. And when you add Paul Gasol, it kind of slows down that team even more. So I think losing Boris was huge because I think with him out there, he gave another ball handler out on the floor. Now you don't have to have the ball in Tony Parker's hands all the time to initiate the offense. So now you add Paul Gasol, it's kind of like David West again. I mean, he can score, he can make plays, he's a veteran, but he slows that team down, especially in the West when you're going to have to match up with the Golden State Warriors.
And they may not just lose Boris Diaw, but Tim Duncan is reportedly mulling retirement as well. This is a guy that's played 19 seasons in the NBA. We know his resume, 5-time NBA champ, won a number of finals and regular season MVPs. All-time ranks, though, when you look at Timmy, where does he rank for you? Maybe not positionally, but overall.
Overall, I would put him in the top 10. I mean, his success in San Antonio was awesome. I think he had a great run. He stayed with one organization. That doesn't happen all the time, as you can see in Kevin Durant. But I think for him, he's definitely probably the number one power forward in our game. I put him ahead of Karl Malone just on the simple fact that even though Karl Malone won, is second all time in
scoring,
won
a championship,
but never won an NBA champion. So I think for me, from a power forward situation, he's probably number one. But all time, I will put him, all-time players, I will put him in the top 10.
He had 18 50-plus win seasons. That's crazy just to think of how many games Tim Duncan won as a member of the San Antonio Spurs. All right, sticking with the Spurs theme, too, moving on to Golden State, you have David West, who was a San Antonio Spurs. Remember, he opted out of $12 million with the Pacers last offseason and went to the Spurs. Now he signs a veteran minimum deal with Golden State. He wasn't very effective in San Antonio. Could he be effective now with the Warriors off the bench?
Now, that's what you call ring chasing.
That's what he's doing.
If you want to talk about ring chasing.
He wants one of them badly.
Absolutely. That's the guy that said, all right, you know what? I left $12 million on the table. He will probably never make $12 million again for the rest of his life to win a ring. And that just tells you what type of individual he is. He really loves the game. He had his success as being the guy, especially on that Indiana Pacer team. For him, it's saying, all right, you know what? I just want to play a role, and I want to do it well because the one thing that I bring to a team is toughness. And we all know how tough David West is. And for him, it didn't really work out in San Antonio. Now it's a situation for him to go to Golden State and bring that toughness to that team with Draymond Green to hopefully get them over the hump and win another championship.
Hey, man, they don't have a ton of money left on the books, so you sign somebody to league minimum and veterans. David West could be one of those guys that could make an impact there. At the buzzer time here on NBA Crossover as we close out the program, what do you want to rant about today?
Oh, man, I think what I'm going to rant about today is my mom and my dad. It's kind of crazy, right?
What?
Mom, you can't never rant about moms, not at all.
No.
But I'm gonna rant about my mom and dad. And the reason why I'm ranting with them is because, guys, come on, Let's keep it real. You had me 10 years too early. I mean, if you're looking at all
Come
these
on.
contracts right now.
You can't do your mom like that,
Hey,
man.
mom, you wanted that Bentley? Hey, if you would have had me 10 years later, hey, you could have had that Bentley and a Rolls Royce and a Maybach. You too, Dad. So if you guys would have had me 10 years later, man, dude, I mean, whew, we would hit the lottery twice, 3 times, 4 times. I mean,
Hang on. It's
My
your mama
ring is
on the
with them.
phone. She wants to talk to you.
what is she saying? Hey, Mom, I'm
She's
sorry.
not happy with you right
Sorry,
now.
Mom.
All right. I want to rant about Dwight Howard, okay? You're on another team yet again, Dwight, and you say you
Yes.
want to bring a championship to Atlanta. How are you going to do that, Dwight, when you couldn't do it in L.A., you couldn't do it in Houston, and by the way, you couldn't do it in Orlando? Dwight should have never left the city of Orlando. That
I
was the
agree with
best
you.
thing going for him. And now, trying to act like a superstar, trying to say all the right things, you're not going to bring a title to Atlanta, Dwight. What are you talking about? You don't have to say it, okay? You're not going to do it. Don't act like you can. Dwight Howard needs to get real and realize that the biggest mistake he made was leaving the Orlando Magic.
Who believes Dwight right now?
Nobody.
Oh man, I think
Nobody
I think it
believes
was just the right thing to say. They just threw the mic in
He's
his
saying,
face.
okay, what do I need to say as a leader of this team? How about you just be happy that you got paid more than you were with Houston and just
Absolutely.
finish your career in your hometown and be happy with a 5th or 6th seed in the Eastern
Yeah,
Conference.
I
So,
gotta agree with you on that.
Rip, it's been fun, brother.
Absolutely,
It's been
absolutely.
awesome. All right, NBA crossover. Keep it locked here on CBS Sports.